gentlemen, to put together a show is one thing, but to put together 110 of them is another. I say this often, that I have a guest in my home, a stranger literally in my home every other night of the week. And I have to like clean up, put on good clothes. Not going to tell you how I do that, and entertain someone for an hour every other night of the week. I don't know if y'all could manage that doing it 110 times, but let me tell you something. If you're going to do anything, and you guys have started trying to do something, I'm going to bake, I'm going to do this, I'm going to start my business. Listen, you got to at least get to 100 before you give up on it. And I will tell you what, I was ready to give up on episode 98. Yes, I was. I was like, you know what? I'm a speaker. They pay me very, very well to do what I do. Why do I need to be fooling around with wires in my house and lights and messing up, knocking over, internet freezing up? Why do I need all of that in my life? And I realized one thing, ladies and gentlemen, that it's not about me. If my internet freezes up, it ain't about me. It's about Spectrum Internet, which needs to be abolished, by the way. It's not about how great I am. It's not about my name on the marquee. It truly is about making an impact in the life of someone else. Now, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I know you guys have been following us on all of our various platforms, but I saved, now listen to this very closely. I saved the best for last. Yes, I did. Yeah, and you guys got to strap in tonight because my guest takes a second to no one. And I have been talking to her in the pre-show, and we ran out of time so fast because she's a motivator. She's a podcast host. She does everything I do better with one hand tied behind her back. So I said, listen, Cheryl, would you please come on my show and let's just set this thing off for getting people ready for 2020 and inspire them. But let me tell you, before we get to 2020, I figure we need to run through the tape. 2021. I figure we need to run through the tape on 2020. See, some people are like, I'm going to eat like a pig until I get to 2021. I think you need to run through the tape and start eating well now. Some people say, man, I ain't going to start walking until 2021. I'm going to sit around the house in my pajamas all day. I would say, no. You need to get your carcass up off the couch and go out the front door. I had a guest on that was the name of his book. Walk out the front door. That's all you had to do. Sometimes that's all you need to do is just get active. And so here's what we're doing in 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not leaving any stone unturned. We are running through the tape. And I have I've scaled mountains. I've rolled back seas to get someone of this caliber on this show for you. I want everyone in Impacting Life 24/7 world to help me welcome the world-renowned Miss Cheryl Ilove. Welcome, Cheryl.
Why, thank you so much, CL. My goodness, what an introduction. I'm so flattered, and I sure hope I can live up to that.
Oh, you can do it with one arm tied behind your back. Cheryl, we talked to you a little bit today, and I think I said, man, I feel like I already know you. And, God has a way of bringing people together of like spirits. And I am just delighted that you took time out of your very busy schedule to be with us on Impacting Life 24/7. So let's get started because I want to get as much into these people's hearts and minds as we possibly can. Okay. So Cheryl, please tell us just a snippet, a little bit about you. I know a lot about you, and I'm going to help unpack that for our audience. But give us an introduction because people see this late, like I said, every other night. It's a new person. And so tell folks about yourself, Cheryl.
Well, actually, I am from a small steel town in Western Pennsylvania. And I was raised with 4 sisters. So I am actually number 3 out of 5. And boy, it's so great to, grow up that way with all of those girls in the house. But sometimes it's like you just want a little space.
Right.
So after I graduated college, I got into my 1974 Ford Maverick and drove across the country with my college roommate because that was the only way I was ever going to get my own room.
I understand. I think my kids can understand that. My 7 children are all looking for their own room too. I get it.
There you go. So I was 21 when I finally got my own room. So yeah, I just decided that I wanted to explore. I wanted to seek my fame and my fortune, and I just wanted a change of scene. And I just didn't want to stay in that little town. It was a wonderful place to grow up. I really appreciated, the upbringing that I had. It was wonderful, but I just wanted to go out and be independent and test my spirit because growing up the way we did, there was always someone to fall back on. There was always a safety net. There was always somebody there to pick you up if you fell, so, literally and figuratively. And I just wondered what it would be like to be able to be out on my own. And I was a skier. I don't ski anymore, but I figured the best place to go would be Colorado. So I said to my college roommate, hey, let's move to Denver. And she went, hey, that's a pretty good idea. So that's how we came here in 1978. We're both still here today.
1978. That was just a few days ago, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, those of you tuning in on Impacting Life 24/7, I am joined by Miss Cheryl Ilove, and Cheryl really has a story that is going to inspire you tonight. Here's what I want you, ladies and gentlemen, that are listening out there. Hello, Greg. He's our VP. Greg is the responsible for getting most folks on this show. He doubles as the executive producer. So Greg sends his hello, and all of our guests who are tuning, all of our folks who are tuning in live, I want you guys to say hello to Miss Cheryl. And you're going to want to because she's got a great story. Going out there to Denver, you say you weren't a skier, but I guess you let me in on a little insight. Do you want to share that on air about how maybe people think Denver is versus to the way it really is?
Oh, I'm not sure if I want to do that because when people find out how beautiful and how glorious the weather really is, it gets a little crowded out here. But, we have a reputation for, oh my gosh, it's cold, it's snowing, and, it's snow all year round. Well, that's true. If you go to the mountains, you can always find snow in Colorado, but
Right.
we can get a wicked, wicked snowstorm, which, by the way, is really kind of nice. They're really kind of fun as long as you're not driving in it. But we can get 2 feet of snow in less than 24 hours. The weather can change from being 70 degrees to dropping to 30 degrees in a matter of hours and going from being bright sunshine to you're buried in snow. But here's the secret that people don't realize is we get a ton of sunshine in Colorado. A lot, at least 300 days a year. And even if we get a terrible blizzard, 2 days later, the sun is out, it's melting it. Of course, we're shoveling snow,
Right.
but sunshine is helping us. And it is just absolutely fantastic. It's beautiful. You can go hiking in the winter, hiking trails all over your neighborhood, go skiing. There are so many things that you can do. And, but it's so much more user friendly than the kind of winters that I experienced in Western Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I think you said your roommate is from Ohio, right? Yeah, from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. Cheryl's from Pennsylvania. So, we've got a show automatically with a rivalry because, Cleveland Browns versus Pittsburgh Steelers. Nonetheless, yes. Cheryl, listen, I have to contain myself because I've got so many emotions about tonight. I've got some emotions because I'm getting 30 days off from this gig right here. You know what I mean? I don't come back on the air till February 1st. So I'm going to be enjoying myself. My nights are going to be free. One of the things that really stood out to me about you is the journey that you took to get to where you are today. A lot of people don't realize, Cheryl, they see the end state of a person. They see the end state, but they don't see the journey that they went through. One of the platforms that you have, the femininja project, you have a platform there where you help people do some amazing things, and you help them accomplish some amazing things by peeling back maybe some of the onion of their life. One of the things you do is you help people find their voice. Explain that.
Yeah, that's so important because that's part of our personal power is to be able to express ourselves. And one of the worst things you can do to a person is to silence their voice. And that happens so often in our society is people ignore a cry for help. You want to, ask for help, you need something, and people either don't listen or they poo-poo it, or, oh, you're just making it up. So the ability to be able to stand your ground and find your voice kind of goes hand in hand.
Right.
The standing your ground part actually is part of a little trick, a martial arts trick, and that is just learning how to be able to connect with the ground and keep yourself flexible and mobile and moving.
Mhm.
So, for example, if you're in a room and you're standing very rigid, and a live tiger comes bursting through the room, through the door, intent on making you his lunch, and you're rigid and you're standing in a stiff position, it's going to take you a few nanoseconds to readjust your posture and to be able to move so you can save yourself.
Mhm.
But if you have that fluid motion movement going through you at all times, you are ready at any moment to be able to change your position, get out of the way. If that tiger's coming in, you can protect yourself, you can get out of the way. And once you find out that you can be grounded and mobile and movable, it makes you more secure and more confident and finding your voice and the ability to be able to express yourself.
Man, that's powerful. Listen at that, ladies and gentlemen. This is why Cheryl is a very sought after motivational speaker. She's making my job easy tonight, ladies and gentlemen. That was a tremendous answer. And if you'd like to connect with Cheryl, there's many ways that you can do it. You can go to CherylIlove.com. That's very simple. ILOV, CherylIlove.com, LOV, not with an E. Also, you can find her at the Femininja femininja.com. Now that is where you're going to see the secret will get out of my guest if you go to femininja.com. And you can also find her on Facebook, I Love Insights at Facebook, and also on Twitter at Cheryl I Love. So listen, Cheryl, we're going to give that information out a ton of times tonight because I want people, this is one thing that's a really cool thing about being a podcast host is, man, I can only do so much. I can only influence people so much, but I can connect them with influencers. Man, if we can connect you with Cheryl I Love tonight, some of the things that she's going to reveal to you may be a way for you to connect with her on a residual basis after the show. And so another thing that you do with the Femininja Project is you help people live well and look good. So kind of unpack those two areas for me.
Well, I like to tell people that living well and looking good is the best revenge, and some people get it and some people don't.
Yeah.
But it's true. I mean, life is full of hits, as you know. It isn't always easy. And it has a way of tearing us down sometimes. And if we let that happen, again, we're chipping away at our personal power. So the ability to look better and take care of ourselves helps us feel better about ourselves. And it starts this positive cycle of health and wellness and vitality. And it can be something so small, just so simple as getting out of bed in the morning and saying, okay, today I'm going to fix my hair.
Right.
Today I'm going to, make a healthy breakfast. Maybe I'm going to get out the door, take a walk around the block. Anything that could be so simple and so small, any small positive change adds up, as you know, it has a cumulative effect. And once you do something for yourself that's really positive and good, either healthy or life affirming or um, helping you with your self esteem, self respect, then it takes you to another thing that you can do. And at the time, it probably seems like so small. It's not going to make that big of a difference. But believe me, it adds up. It's like putting money in the bank. It's like saving pennies in a little piggy bank. It doesn't seem like it's very much. It's just a few cents here, a few cents there. But before you know it, that piggy bank is full and you are really wealthy.
Right. And I can imagine, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, you who are tuning in to Impact Life 24/7, let me just say hello to a few folks that are out there. I'm going to say hello to Greg and Mariah and Monita and Mary. Hello, folks, and welcome you. I have as my guest the world renowned Cheryl I Love, and you can find her at CherylIlove.com. That's ILOV.com. That's right. You're gonna go there and you're gonna be inspired. Also, you can check her out at the Femininja project at femininja.com, thefemininja.com, and you're going to see some great things there. Also, one of the things that I looked at with your Femininja project is that you help people unleash their personal power. Now, here's what I want to say.
Okay.
I had to clear my throat, ladies and gentlemen, because as you know, I scream for a living. So you help people find their personal power. There has been so much, oh my goodness, negativity that has gone on throughout this year, as you know, Cheryl. And I think people have not exercised an inner examination of themselves.
Mhm.
And a lot of times I've seen people so busy in everybody else's business that they're not working on themselves. So
Mhm.
in the Femininja Project, you help people find their personal power. Why is that important, Cheryl?
Oh, it's so important because I mean that's basically who you are in life and how people treat you. And if you don't access that personal power, you kind of get run over, almost get run roughshod. And you're right, there's so much negativity going on right now and we get caught up in it. And again, as I was telling you, we were talking about that positive cycle that we can develop.
Right.
It also goes the other way too. Once we start, hearing negative snippets of me, maybe something on the news, maybe something, a friend said to you, or a loved one, we start getting that negative cycle, it really starts to add up. And what I really want to point out is the negative self-talk.
Ooh, go ahead.
And that something is going to, that can destroy you even more quickly and more thoroughly than anything you can hear from somebody else. But this is why it's so important, is because what we believe is what we become. And what we hear from other people, be it the media, society, the things we see in the magazine covers and online, and even well-meaning people, medical experts, the things that they tell us, maybe our pastors, our parents, our siblings, what they tell us, we eventually believe if we hear it over and over again, even if it goes against our inherent belief system.
That's right.
The brain is always taking it in. It is always recording those messages. It's not making a judgment call whether it's right or wrong. It's just recording it, just like our computer is recording everything that we input. And as you know, when you're scrolling, on your computer, you put the same thing in over and over. Sometimes you don't have to put the full URL because you've been there so many times.
Right.
Sometimes you do is put the first two letters and boom, it pops up. Our brains work the same way.
That's brilliant. Okay.
Hear those messages often enough, we eventually believe them, even if it goes against our inherent belief system. And you hear that often enough, what you believe is what you become. Eventually, you will become what you hear and what you believe.
Wow. And Augie, listen, Augie, well, Augie is a member of the I-24/7 exclusive club. Augie is a truck driver. He travels all across the country. And most nights when Augie's free, he joins us. So Augie says greetings from Nebraska. And like we said, ladies and gentlemen, folks listen to this show from literally from coast to coast and around the globe. And so Augie, we love you. We appreciate you. And listen to my guest tonight, brother, because she's a bad hombre, bro. Augie was a part of the Army Rangers, so he's going to love the next portion of our show that we get into. Yeah, he's known on the show, man. Augie is the truck driver out there making it happen. And one little side note about Augie: when COVID first hit and it was very very dramatic, a lot of truck drivers came off the road, but Augie stayed on the road from February until late June, early July. He did not come off the road, and so that he's an American hero.
So, if I can say really quickly to Augie, thank you for your service, both as a ranger and driving and getting us the supplies we so desperately needed. So, thank you so much, Augie.
Yeah, we love you, Augie. God bless you. Now back to Cheryl. As you guys know, she's on my show, Impacting Life 24/7. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the last episode of 2020. And I've got CherylIlove.com. You can check her there. You can also go to the thefemininja.com. And you can figure out how to spell that because it took me forever to get it all right. Thefemininja.com. Also, you can find her on Facebook at I Love Insights and on Twitter at Cheryl I Love, and probably a whole host of other places because she's so popular. You can find her on YouTube. She's got her tentacles of influence and inspiration all across the web. And so you're going to love it there. Now, listen, not only have you got this Femininja project, which we know we're kind of working working in multiple swim lanes here, but you're also a physical therapist, and you've done some great working helping people with practical fitness, and you becoming a certified physical therapist. When did you actually complete that journey?
I graduated with my master's degree in physical therapy from CU, Colorado University, just 3 months shy of my 40th birthday.
Wow. Okay. So that's phenomenal. And you were in practice, I think you said for 17, 18 years, private practice, right?
I was in private practice for 18 years. I was a practicing PT for at least 22. Prior to that, I was actually a respiratory therapist. So I
Wow.
was a respiratory therapist for 17 years.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, she learned to help people how to breathe, and then she learned to help people with their bodies. And so we're going to get into that a little bit. One of the things that you talk about in many of your platforms is not only being a physical therapist, but also how you took this journey of battling a chronic pain and what that evolved into. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you guys are going to want to stay close. Do not leave. Listen, put it on pause if you're watching TV. I want you to listen in very closely because this next segment of my guest is really going to be very illuminating and inspiring. So Cheryl had she battled with 2.5+ years of chronic pain, and just like was told, everything was falling apart. I'll let her explain more. Cheryl, tell us what happened, and then tell us how you evolved.
Okay, so what happened was I started feeling like this little discomfort in my low back. And of course, I did the practical thing, I ignored it.
Right.
Yeah, and it got worse. So then what was little discomfort ended up with sharp pains and a lot of tightness. And so I tried stretching and hot packs and it got worse. So basically what happened was in a matter of just a few short months, I went from being a healthy, vibrant and active young woman to a chronic pain patient.
Hmm.
I had pain across my low back, sharp stabbing, shooting, going down my hips and my buttocks, down all the way down one leg, the back of the leg, and into my foot and into my big toe. It was obviously a sciatic pain. I didn't know it at the time because I wasn't a PT. And although I really was very familiar with the cardiopulmonary system and the respiratory system, I wasn't quite so clear about what was going on musculoskeletally.
Right.
So I went, to the doctor and thinking it would be a pretty easy fix. 2.5 years later, I mean, I could barely move.
Hmm.
I had done every single thing I was told to do by the medical, professionals. I went to all my doctor's appointments, my physical therapy appointments. I had massage therapists. I was on pain medication, muscle relaxers, anti-inflammatories. I did all of the stretches and the exercises that the physical therapists gave me, but instead of getting better, I kept getting worse to the point that I could barely move. I was working, I had to cut my hours just dramatically because I could barely get through a shift. I had to do just half shifts. And I mean, it was just miserable. And I really hit a turning point when I went to a doctor's appointment. And she looked at me and she said, "You will never be able to do your laundry and your grocery shopping all in the same day because the arthritis in your spine is so severe, you will end up being bedridden."
That's quite a diagnosis and something to hear from a doctor.
Well, yeah. And I mean, how unfair to take somebody's hope away like that.
Mm.
And that's exactly what she did, but it got worse. And I told her, I mean, I was dumbfounded when she told me that because I had imagined I would eventually recover and be well again. And I said, "Oh, you don't understand. I'm planning on going back to ballet class."
Right.
And she laughed in my face and said, "You don't understand. You're a chronic pain patient." And she says, "Besides, you're way too old for ballet. It's just for kids." And she says, "But this is your new normal. You will never have the life you had before. You will never have the life that you thought you were going to have. And you can forget about physical therapy school," because I was thinking about going and getting an advanced degree. She says, "Even if you could do it physically, which you can't, you're just too broken." She says, "You're way too old."
Oh my.
And then she told me to start applying for disability because I was going to need it.
So you were basically just told, go on home and become and just become a decrepit old lady, even though you weren't very old, huh?
I was 36.
36 and being told that, man, that sounds almost, boy, that sounds remarkably familiar to my story, man. We'll share that when I'm on your show. But that, so you were told, hey, look, there's nothing that we can do. This is irreversible, and you might as well go and get some disability and just suck it up. So how'd you take that? I imagine initially that was a bit depressing.
Well, it was pretty depressing and it was just shocking because this was not my plan.
Right.
And I mean, I went home and I just absolutely lost it. I hit rock bottom and it took a few days, but I don't know where it came from, but there was something deep inside of me. I found my fighting spirit and
Uh,
I said, no, this is not the life I want. This is not the life I deserve, nor my husband. He doesn't deserve this. I have got to figure this out. And so I just thought, I'm already in so much
Let me just
pain.
stop you real quick. Can I just stop you? I know I'm going to lose some friends on this one. Let me just,
Uh-oh.
okay, let me parenthetically insert myself here. You heard what she said, ladies and gentlemen, right? She said she didn't deserve it, and neither did her husband. She understands that the marriage piece was important. Not only what you do with yourself is not just all about you; it's also about your spouse. That commercial break was absolutely free. Go ahead, Cheryl. Keep going.
Okay. That was great. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, because we were a team. I mean, we still are all these years later.
That's right.
And I just thought this is calling for some dramatic action. So I fired all my caregivers, all my physicians and my PTs, much to their chagrin, because they thought, oh no, you need us because we have to take care of you. And I thought, well, you're not doing very well. And I don't want anybody to take care of me. I want to take care of myself.
Right.
So I stopped all the medication, but I did wean myself down. I didn't go cold turkey because, I was like you, cutting them in half.
Right.
And I started doing all the exercises and stretches that my physical therapists gave me because they weren't doing any good anyway. So what was the point?
Right.
So I just intuitively knew I had to teach myself how to move again, just like we were babies. When we were babies, how did we learn to move? We just explored our environment. And that's what we did. Nobody gave us little baby barbells and said, okay, now you have to do these bicep curls, and then you put your hand here and put this, and then you'll be able to roll over in the crib. Nobody taught us that. We figured it out on our own. And so that's kind of what I went back to the basics. I have to teach myself how to move again and how to move without pain. So I had to do a lot of self evaluation, self reflection, self awareness, self exploration. And eventually, I was able to get myself out of pain. The only thing I did add was acupuncture, which I love acupuncture. It's fantastic.
Wow. So she added acupuncture and she took command and control of her life and relative to pain management. And I, being a long time pain management patient, I can attest to the fact that when you go back to the basics of self exploration, self reflection, and beginning to explore what works and what you can do, man, it's little steps, but great distances. And so as you continued on that journey, some things happened that were even more dynamic. Correct.
Correct. Correct. Well, after, once I actually got accepted to physical therapy school,
Mhm.
and I graduated, like I said, just 3 months shy of my 40th birthday. So I guess I really wasn't too old.
Yeah.
And and I struggled when I first I first graduated and got into the field. There were no jobs. I mean, we had been going through a slump, and there was a flux of physical therapists, not enough jobs. I struggled in that environment for about 2 years, and it was like, this is stupid. I wasn't making enough money as a PT. I ended up going back and doing respiratory work, which was fine, and making more doing that. And finally, I got this inspiration one day. It was like, you know what? There are people out there who are teaching Pilates that don't have the kind of background I have. I'm a
Right.
dancer. I'm a physical therapist. I've done Pilates, and studied it for at that point, probably 15 years, I had actually gone through the professional training when I graduated my master's program. And I thought, I'll just go out on my own. So I started up my own business, my own practice, and I specialized in Pilates-based rehabilitation and conditioning. And as the years went on, I added other things that I had become proficient into along the way to help my clients.
Man, I'm just blown away, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to Impacting Life 24/7. Hello, everybody that's tuning in and joining us on our live feed there. Cheryl Ilove is my guest. She is the femininja, and she is the founder of the Femininja Project. You can find her at CherylIlove.com. And also you can go to thefemininja.com. You can find her on Facebook, I Love Insights. Listen, I'm just a little bit upset because as you guys know, I have people around me all the time, especially with my global impact. And my children came into the studio. It's really not the studio anymore; it's the living room. And they brought in Bojangles. Bojangles is chicken now. You got to know, if you got to look it up, Cheryl. Bojangles is good old fried Southern chicken, and they brought 2 boxes of Bojangles in here. But because Dad is getting his blood pressure under control, and because Dad is not trying to have a stroke, here's what they gave me. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Instead of giving me Bojangles, they give me a plate of what are these things called? Grapefruits. I'm like, really? How? Why would my children do this after with all these presents up under the trees? I saw them come in the door, and I was like, yeah. I motioned to them, give me a piece of that Bojangles, baby. They said, yeah, here you go, Dad. Here's your Bojangles.
Well, they love you.
Well, they do. And listen, the other night I had a blood pressure reading of 174. So Big Daddy King has got to get it under control. And I'm not waiting till January 1st, even though I told you I was. We are taking command of this situation right now. So as time goes on, I believe there were some other dramatic changes that happened to you around the 47-year-old range, right?
Well, yes. At the age of 47, the tender young age of 47, I surprised myself and everybody who knew me when I began training in an ancient Japanese martial art called Nimpo Taijutsu, the art of the ninja.
Ooh.
And I did not go willingly.
She went kicking and screaming, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, not in a good way. So I actually met my acupuncturist. He was a new acupuncturist, and he had a clinic right next to a martial arts school that happened to be his martial arts school. Well, I didn't think about that. I mean, ooh, icky, martial arts. That's just, who would want to do that?
Right.
So the very first time I went in for a treatment, and he was putting needles in my legs, and he got a very far away look on his face, and he said, with your legs and my coaching, I could teach you how to kill with those things.
Oh, my.
That's not what I said. Thought to myself, I was horrified. And I thought to myself, who thinks like this?
Yeah.
Let alone says it out loud.
Yeah. I'd be probably a little hesitant to be saying something like that, but it obviously was an opening statement that caught your attention, huh?
It did. And there was nothing I could really do about it because I thought, I think I need to leave now. But I was literally pinned to the table because he had needles in me all over the place. And I just says, Mark, thanks. I really appreciate, thanks for thinking of me, but no, that's never going to happen. And every single time I went in for treatments, he would always talk about the art of the ninja, and he'd go on and on and on. And it was so boring. I couldn't stand it. And I just wanted him to leave the room and, shut up. Don't talk to me anymore. Let the needles do their work. And he would go on about how, once you start training, you look at things in a different way. Everything's a weapon, household items, things like toilet plungers and brooms and, like the blinds. And I thought, this man really is nuts. He's out of his mind. Well, took him 3 years to wear me down.
Oh, wow. So the acupuncture opening line didn't work. So you had to go for another 36 months before he made any progress, huh?
Yep, certainly did. And basically, I told him, okay, I will try a few classes just to prove to you how much I'm going to hate it, and then I'm going to quit.
Mm.
And I really did want to try some self-defense because I thought I needed it. I had gone through a really traumatic event just a few months prior to meeting him. Of course, he didn't know about it. And when he did find out about it, that's when he really went into high gear. It's like, you have got to do some of this martial arts. It is so healing. It is so powerful. And I thought, I don't see how hanging out with a bunch of sweaty men in a smelly dojo is going to help me heal and help me feel better, because I had been, I don't want to say a victim, but I had been assaulted just right before I had met Mark, about four months prior to meeting him.
Mm.
So that was, a full PTSD. I mean, and the thing is, I understand why women do not report assault, because the way I was treated afterwards was probably just as bad, maybe even worse than the actual event itself. And if anybody's wondering, it didn't happen in a bar, it didn't happen in a dark alley, it actually happened in a doctor's office.
Oh my.
So
Greg,
credit
Greg,
are everywhere.
Greg, you hear this, man, and we talk about this often, that sometimes it's harder for the women that they've got to prove, even though they've been assaulted, that it feels like they're the guilty one, even though when they try to speak up. And I can understand what you're saying relative to women having a hesitancy to speak up, and that's a shame in this country.
It really is a shame. It really is a shame. Um, I kind of did get a little bit of vengeance though, which was, it was kind of sneaky. So even before I began my ninja training, I guess I was a ninja all along, because I did something very sneaky but pretty effective. So
Okay, okay, that's good. All right, get yours. All right. So you hook up with the acupuncture cat that told you you got great legs and he's got great skills teaching, and your legs is gonna take people out. So what happens? Tell us about the journey.
well, again, I went reluctantly, and I said, the plan was just take a few classes, learn a few techniques, and move on with my life. Check, been there, done that. And I knew I was going to hate it, CL. I just knew I was going to hate it. And so I went to my first class and I didn't hate it. Even after my first class, the way I felt afterwards, and I mean, I was terrified. Let's, you know,
Right.
be very clear about that. It was terrifying because I was the only woman in class.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Most of the time, I was the only woman. And then my first class, I had come from ballet class. My hair was still up in a bun and everything. And, there I am, little middle-aged ballerina surrounded by a bunch of these big old hairy men. And then they started to kick and punch and throw and yell and grunt. And I'm looking for the back door going, I gotta get out of here. This is just way too
I
terrifying.
can, I can see this pictured in my mind's eye, Cheryl. You there with your ballerina gig on, and looking all prissy, and all these men in there showing off their testosterone. So, how did you navigate that?
It wasn't easy. And you're right, they were showing off because they had a woman in class they could show off for. So every time I would like squeal and cover my face and my eyes and throw my gi top over my head, they thought I was being impressed, and I was not. But here's something that I think is a very important life lesson, and something that your listeners can take home or take to heart, is as soon as Mark showed us the technique we were going to be working on that day, I didn't see any of it because I had my eyes closed. And as soon as I opened my eyes, he says, okay, pick a partner and play. And I'm thinking, if that's your idea of playing, I'd hate to see your idea of fighting. And all of a sudden I saw this black belt heading right toward me.
Oh my.
And yes. And I just froze. And he looked at me and he stopped in front of me. He bowed sharply and he said something in Japanese. He said, "Onegaishimasu." And so I'm looking around going, what am I supposed to do with this?
Supposed to
And he's looking
be
at
on.
me
Eh?
like, what?
I said it's about to be on. You better get ready.
Well, I was like, what am I supposed to do? I had no idea. And I thought, okay, two can play this game. So I lifted the ends of an imaginary skirt and I curtsied and I said, enchanté.
Okay.
It was like the only thing I could think of. And he looked at him, and it was his turn to look a little confused. And he's like, well, okay, I want you to kick me. And I said, I'm not going to kick you. And he says, yes, kick me. And I says, well, I've never kicked anybody in my life and I don't want to kick you and I'm not going to start now. And he says, no, it's part of the technique. I want you to kick me and I want you to kick me here. And he's pointing low at his belly. And I says, no, I don't think so. I don't want to hurt you.
Uh,
And you can see the little air bubble above his head going, aw, isn't that cute? She thinks she can hurt me.
right.
And so this went on and on for a few, minutes. And finally he says, look, just go ahead and kick me. I can take care of myself. You will not hurt me. You cannot hurt me. And I'm going, I don't know how to kick anybody. So I said, okay. So I lifted up my leg and I pointed my toes and I just jammed it into his belly with all the power and intention of a grand jeté flying across a ballet stage.
Okay.
Guess I could hurt him. He fell over backwards.
Oh, yes. That's what I'm talking about. I think he rethought his whole approach to this, didn't he?
He's clutching his belly. He's trying to catch his breath. And he said, that was pretty good. He said, that was really good. Where did you learn to kick like that? And Mark came over. He had watched seen the whole thing. And he said, how many years of ballet? And I said, 27. And he said, don't let the package fool you. She's a lot stronger than you think.
Oh, wow.
And that's the point. We are all a lot stronger than we think we are.
Right.
And there is an inner power, and I call it a superpower.
Yes.
Just with ballet, I didn't know what to do, so I just did something. And each and every one of us have a skill set that can be applied to so many different aspects of life. And that's really our superpower.
Man, that's powerful. So after a season, I think you started getting comfortable and developing some skills and appreciation for this discipline. And 10 years later, what happened?
Well, 10 years later, I became his first female black belt.
Wow.
In 20 years of teaching, he never had a female get that high of a rank. And I was the first one. And since then, there's only been one other. And she's 30 years younger than me.
30 years younger than you. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is my guest. I don't really know. I'm so delighted I'm ending the year this way. CherylIlove.com. She's my guest. She's the author of Lord have mercy. I wrote it down here. Oh, there it is right there. Forever Flexible, right? Isn't that what's the title of your book?
Forever fit and flexible, feeling fabulous at 50 and beyond.
Yes, I wrote it down, but I cannot read my own handwriting. So just please forgive me. Forever Flexible, feeling fit and fabulous beyond 50. Tell us again.
There's a lot of F's here. Forever fit and flexible,
Right?
fabulous at 50 and beyond.
That's good. Listen, she wrote a book, and Cheryl, who's gone on this journey for so long, becoming the first female black belt from the guy who said, "Listen, with these legs, you're gonna do some real damage." Now, if we could just for a moment, I know we've gone. This has just gone. This has just gone exceedingly abundantly beyond what I could thought in terms of our connection. What tell us a little bit about the discipline and what it involves. Can you do that? Are you allowed to reveal kind of what you do?
Sure, as long as you don't tell anybody.
I won't tell us all.
Okay, it's our little secret. I call it the ninja secret. It's Nimpo Taijutsu, and it is an ancient Japanese martial art. I consider it kind of like a classical martial art because I don't want to say that it's very strict or rigid. It's not, but it is very serious as far as we take our history very seriously. We take our etiquette incredibly seriously. We take the philosophy of the ninja very seriously and to heart, and the spirit of the warrior. And what a lot of people think when they think of a warrior, they think of a fighter, they think of warfare, they think of, negative connotation, but that's not really the true spirit of the warrior. The warrior has a compassionate heart. The warrior loves peace and harmony.
Mhm.
The warrior, all they want to do is to take care of themselves, their family, their community, and make sure everybody is safe and cared for. And they look out for people who can't take care of themselves and they help them. So it's a very generous, a spirit of generosity that comes from the spirit of the warrior. However, don't cross the line.
Yeah, because ladies and gentlemen, I love the backdrop that Cheryl provided for us tonight. You're listening to Impacting Life 24/7, and we wanted to let you kind of marinate on what this lady truly brings to the table. And you can see those swords back there, and I'm assuming that you know how to get on the business end of one of those things and make stuff happen, huh?
Kind of. One weapon right below the swords, and it's actually two sticks. It used to be one.
Uh-huh.
It was a 6 foot long bow staff. And I was training with the other woman in class who is quite the martial artist. Vanessa, love you. You're amazing. And we were getting a little carried away and we were swinging, with the sticks. And she came in for like the final blow. I was defending myself and it was like a kill shot to the top of the head. And she was really, her energy was up. She was moving really fast. She came for that strike and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to die. And I, put my staff to protect myself and to block it. And it sounded like a cannon went off in the dojo.
Oh
My
my.
broke in two.
Oh man. So now you've definitely got a great conversation piece around when you're hanging out with that young lady. That's powerful. And the cool thing is, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you got to go back if you're just joining us, you'll have to go back and watch the replay because I'm joined by Cheryl Ilove. You can find her at CherylIlove.com or also the femininja .com. That's our femininja project where she helps empower people to develop better self-awareness and better self-image, better health, better fitness. And she also has a physical therapy practice that she reinstituted, and she's doing that online. Very, 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 very successful practice there. And she's also a life coach. I love the fact that she is taking her message to people and helping people really develop their better selves. And some people say, why would I need a life coach? I'm just going to tell you this right now. We talked about this with someone on the show. I've had so many guests I can't remember, but it was really a cool person. And he said, "Listen, our sports folks have coaches, our theater people have coaches." Did we lose you there? We have our sports folks that have coaches, our theater people that have coaches, and all these other folks that have coaches, and yet we think in life we don't need a coach. And so I want you to connect with Cheryl because she's going to help you go from, listen, if you're dealing with chronic pain, if you're dealing with issues in your body, your physical, your self-image, this is why I have this show, because we connect you with people that truly can help you bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. CherylIlove.com. That's ILOV.com. And so she also wrote a book. And the book, ladies and gentlemen, listen, I'm going to get the book right. Watch this. I'm going to read my own handwriting. Here's what it says. The book is a remarkable book. It's forever fit and flexible, feeling fabulous at 50 and beyond. How'd I do, Cheryl?
Perfect. Excellent.
So you've also helped people in that book, and you've helped them dealing and eliminating chronic pain. You help people with that. Give us just a few highlights of what you do there.
Well, basically, I like to tell people that I bust the myths of aging. I like to punch Father Time in the face and tell the naysayers to be quiet and mind their own business and go away. Just like that one doctor had told me, this is your label, you're a chronic pain patient, this is what you have to live with. So it's more than just fitness. It's actually a book about mindset, awareness, paying attention to yourself. I do have exercises. I don't want to call them exercises. They're more like movement exploration lessons in the book. It's a program that I put together that to start you on that journey of moving with attention, moving with mindfulness, and really paying attention to how you move, because when you do that, it's a game changer. It can help you not only improve your flexibility, your balance, your core strength without doing a lot of crazy things on the floor. It's just about paying attention to yourself and learning how to move and really using your body in a way that's very efficient and very healthy.
Well, those of you who can't see me, because there are people listening to the podcast, obviously, after we post record it and post produce it, I have decided to change my posture since talking to Cheryl because she's sitting up straight and I was slouched over here wishing I had Bojangles. So Bojangles chicken. So yeah, and some of those small things that you help people uncover is really amazing. You also talk about helping improve injury related mobility issues. And I guess that kind of all falls into the kind of scope of movement, right?
It does. It all falls into that scope of movement. And I like to tell people that I integrate the science of physical therapy with the art of movement. So a lot of what I do, I combine and I rely heavily on my experience with Pilates, dance, martial arts, and another movement art called Feldenkrais.
Ah, yes, I saw that on your website. Now tell me, okay, we got to talk about that. I forgot to write it down. I'm glad you remembered because you know I can't remember anything. Cheryl, Cheryl, tell us about that piece.
Feldenkrais is a very highly sophisticated form of neuromuscular reeducation based on the scientific principle of neuroplasticity, which is a fancy name that just means our brain, our nervous system, and our bodies are capable of changing during the entire course of our lifetime. We can change the way we look, the feel, sense, move, changing pathways in our brain. And I mean, that's not a, it's kind of a new thing and everybody's doing neuroplasticity and neuropatterning and all that stuff. But we do it through movement. So even, people who experience depression or, can't get motivated or a variety of different things, we just work with movement because when you can move better, you can feel better. And that moving impacts your brain and how your brain function is. And it goes back and forth. So it's a wonderful, wonderful modality. It's a 4-year training program to become a practitioner.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Now, I'm just thinking about them, and this is there was so much truth. This, ladies and gentlemen, is an episode that is chock full of truth. You know why? Because I remember after my first failed back surgery and second failed back surgery, all I wanted to do is lay around and feel sorry for myself.
Mhm.
I didn't want to move. I didn't want to do anything. And the longer I became a couch potato, the worse I got. Sometimes, listen, I know that sometimes it feels like it's counterproductive to take that first step. But listen to what Cheryl said, man. She dealt with chronic pain for 24 months, and the doctors wrote her off. They told her, go get on disability. You're not going to do ballet. You're not going to become a physical therapist. They told her all the things that she couldn't do. And that's what our society, this is why my message is so important, ladies and gentlemen, because I go into schools and community centers and places all across this globe, and I tell them, listen, I know what adversity says to you. It says you can't, but even in the midst of adversity, you still can.
Amen. Amen.
We just had to have a little revival there for a moment, ladies and gentlemen. I will return back to my I'm not normally this crazy on the show, but when I am, Greg tells me I am. So there you go. So listen, you cover some great things in there. Increased energy, man. When you can feel like man, you're not drugged down. A lot of people. Do you deal with people that have other issues that cause a fatigue, i.e., let's say lupus or MS? Do you help those types of folks?
I do. I do. It's a much longer process, and there has to be a real desire to be able to make small changes and to be patient with it, because that's where a lot of people might get discouraged. Is like they've been with pain or dealing with pain or dysfunction for so long, and they don't think that there's any way out of it. But that's the very first thing that you have to do, is you have to change the way you think and the way you look at. You just said it so beautifully. It's not a disability. Let's look at your ability.
Yes, that's correct.
But let's look at what you can do, and let's expand on that.
Wow. Yeah.
Let's use,
Go ahead. Did we freeze up? I
uh, can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's just using the tools that you have available to you and expanding on that. And once you do that, then it starts to branch out and you can start to do a little bit more. The hardest part, I think, is to be patient.
Yeah, because everybody, social media has forced us into this. We need instant gratification right now, hasn't it, Cheryl?
Right.
Yeah.
And then the medical field, or the medical profession, bless their hearts. I mean, I'm part of it. They kind of like feed into that. It's like, well, here, take this pill and you'll feel better. And
Right.
if you're not feeling good, you want that quick fix. Believe me, if I could have had a quick fix, I would have taken it.
I want you guys to connect with my guest, my friend, my new sister, Cheryl Ilove. You can find her at CherylIlove.com. You can also find her at the femininja.com. You can look her up on Facebook at I Love Insights. You can also find her on Twitter at Cheryl Ilove. She is a coach. She's a life coach, helping people navigate through a whole host of issues. She's a physical therapist, and she's also a world-class black belt ninja that if you cross her, she gonna put something on you. You know what I'm saying, homie? Don't mess with the ninja. Now we just got a few last things. The landing gears down, ladies and gentlemen. This is the saddest part of the show for me because as we're getting ready to close out, I have to let these guests go home. But I want to share just a few things. Cheryl didn't know I was going to do this, but I appreciate this as a speaker. So I'm going to do for you what I wish people would do for me. Okay. Watch this, Cheryl. People have given testimonies and testimonials about the great work that Cheryl does. Listen to what they said. Some of her testimonials about her being a speaker. Cheryl has an elegant way of weaving in her stories and experiences into her topics that educate and leave you feeling inspired. I highly recommend her for your next seminar or workshop. Somebody said that about you, Cheryl, because you're doing a great job. That was Dr. Lindsay, Reher from DC. Absolutely amazing write up. Someone also says, "What a treat it was to hear Cheryl speak about her life story. Not only is she a superb speaker, which means a great deal to me being a Toastmaster, her story is compelling and motivating. She is a gem." Now, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand she's got write-ups that have filled up my page, and so I can't obviously read them all, but I want you to know the quality and caliber of people that we bring on the show. Let me just read a few more because I might get paid for these promotions here. Cheryl might kick me off a little something. Watch this. Lee, someone says Cheryl effectively shared her story using humor, high energy, and examples of choosing how to respond to life's difficult situations. The audience loved her. Now that's powerful. Sometimes it's more equitable to get a review than it is to get a check. But of course, I like the checks too. So let me just read about her book reviews. You got to check out her book, ladies and gentlemen. Her book, you can find it on Amazon, right, Cheryl?
Yes, you can.
Is there any other places that we can find your book?
Oh gosh, Barnes and Nobles. There's anywhere that has an online store.
Okay, now if people would like to get a signed, as I would like to get a signed autographed copy, how would they get that?
Well, connect with me and we'll see what we can do.
Okay, yes. So just go ahead and start signing now because you sending CL King a book. CherylIlove.com. You could probably find where to get the book there, or the Femininja, all over the place. She is really doing some fabulous things. Let's just hear a few reviews about the book. In this useful book, the author and physical therapist Cheryl Ilove shares her years of personal experience and expertise to help readers achieve a healthy life through movement, mindset, and nutrition. Overall, Forever Fit and Flexible is well written. It's a thorough guide to healthy living that will be enjoyed by a wide spectrum of readers looking for the same. And let me tell you something. Those of you that I know I kind of hit on y'all for taking off your pack at the end of 2020 and saying it's over. Those of you that are getting yourself ready, maybe you are getting your plastic containers for your meal prep. Maybe you went and bought some spandex and some sweatbands. Greg probably got some high white socks with them Chuck Taylor tennis shoes. maybe you're getting yourself prepared. This would be a tremendous resource for you to do, not only to get her book, where you can get her book obviously at CherylIlove.com, but you can also connect with Cheryl. Maybe you guys can get together and do some one-on-one coaching, because that's what she does and she specializes in it. You're not going to be getting coaching from somebody who just went through the coaching training. Because, online, there's plenty of coaching training, right? You can be a coach in 25 minutes. Just take this course. And then people out here coaching, they ain't got a clue what they're doing. Cheryl Ilove has gone through the gauntlet of adversity and came out on top. When the doctors told her that she could not become a physical therapist and she could not continue ballet and she could everything they told her she couldn't do, she did and did it exceedingly well. That's Cheryl Ilove. Now I'm going to yield my time back to the senator from Colorado, and I'm going to ask Cheryl. I'm going to ask Cheryl. I should have said the gentle lady from Colorado. I'm going to ask Cheryl to my audience. Okay, we're closing out on 2020, and I want you to give my audience. You got 2 minutes, Cheryl. I want you to speak to them about all that we've been through in 2020, and how they can still come out on top in 2021. Your floor.
Okay, so instead of even thinking 2021, think about tomorrow, think about tonight, think about small changes that you can do to build yourself up and have a better life. Because we have been through something that we haven't been through in what, 100 years. This is new ground. Everybody's stressed. Our blood pressure is up. We're really having anxiety about the holidays, and everything is different. But look for the opportunities that you have and that we have made through this process. So the first thing I would suggest is just take at least 15 to 20 minutes every day minimum. If that's too much for you, start with just 5 minutes. Complete silence. Turn off the devices, turn everything off, go to a quiet room. You can either sit, I'm not really good at meditating. I just can't do it because I can't sit still that long. I like to lie on the floor. You can lie on the floor, just breathe. If the weather is okay where you live, go outside. Even if it isn't, wrap yourself up, go outside, get back to nature, walk around the block, anything that you can do to be able to calm yourself down, look at the sky, listen to the birds. It is such a beautiful world out there in spite of everything that we've been through. Hey, look, we're still standing. And it's these trials and tribulations that we go through when it's the darkest is actually when the rebound comes and you start to see the blessings in it. There's blessings in everything. So don't get discouraged and keep on going. And the other thing is, I just have to tell you, do not let people put labels on you. Just don't let them do it. Because once you hear that label enough times, you're going to become it. You're not too old. You're not too fat. You're not too young. You're not too anything. You're perfect just the way you are. Find your own brilliance. Find your superpower. Find that life skill that you already have inside of you, whatever it is, and you can use it and utilize it in every single aspect of your life because I have confidence in you.
Well, you see, ladies and gentlemen, why Miss Cheryl Ilove is a highly sought after speaker, keynote speaker, because what she just said in 2 minutes is something that I couldn't have said in 2 or 3 days. Cheryl, that was phenomenal. I am delighted that you took time out of your very robust and busy schedule to be with us on Impacting Life 24/7. This is our last show, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope it delivered because it delivered for me. You can find Cheryl at CherylIlove.com. Of course, you can get her book. Her book is amazing. We just talked about that. I'm waiting for my signed copy. You can get it at Forever Fit and Flexible, Feeling Fabulous at 50 and Beyond. That's her book. Best-selling author, physical therapist, black belt ninja, overcomer of chronic pain, a woman that is just on the absolute move, not letting anything stop her. Cheryl, I really appreciate it. And I am looking forward to having you on Impacting Life 24/7 again.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Seal. I had such a good time. I just love your energy, and I am really excited to have you on the Femininja project.
Yes, I'm going to be on the Femininja project. I'll probably be wearing a sweatband and maybe my whole get up. I'll be ready to fly in there like a ninja. You know what I'm saying? I think we're doing that together on the 30th. Is that correct?
Yeah, next week sometime. I think, yeah, 29th. I can't remember, but it's not going to be. It won't go live for a few weeks.
Yeah, that's fine. Who knows? At this, dates all run together in our worlds anyway, because we're always, setting up and preparing for other people. It'll be my honor to be with you, but it's been more of my honor to have you with us. And we'll go ahead and get you scheduled for some more times throughout 2020 to share your story with more audiences that tune in with us. Okay, Cheryl.
Thank you, CL. I really appreciate it.
All right.
And love what you said about me that I was your sister from another mister.
That's right. We're brother and sister now. You stuck with me, so just get used to it. I appreciate you, Cheryl, and we'll be in touch in just a few days, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right. God bless you. Have a great night.
Too. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So you heard it here on Impacting Life 24/7 with CL King. I just this is my last show of the year, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna. I told the band to start over. Augie, thank you, man. Thank you for keeping up with us, man. I appreciate you and I love you. Hope you have a good night. Thank you, Greg. I first of all need to thank Greg because Greg comes on this show and he doesn't say a word. You guys don't see him except in the comments. He could be doing other things. He's got a family, he's got a grandbaby, he's got so much stuff other than this that he's got going on. But Greg has taken time out to be with me and to be with you every night. And he doesn't talk, he just supports. He sets people up for the show, schedules and works out all the logistics. And then he listens for 60 minutes plus every Monday night at 8:30, Tuesday night at 8:30, and Thursday night at 8:30. It is beyond appreciated, Greg. And that's why he is my best friend. I'd also like to thank some other folks. I'd like to thank Danny Smith for helping us with some of the logistics and I guess you call it crowd control. I forget the term, but he helps get information out during the live, a moderator, if you will. And Danny also he's in a master's program. He should be in a doctorate program, and he helps us out. He comes on the show. He doesn't have to, but he does. And we're building a coalition, ladies and gentlemen, here at Impact Life 24/7 that is going to be far reaching, far beyond what we thought it was going to be when we had that little cheap old microphone when we started. Remember that? We had a little video round microphone and started out, and it was an absolute embarrassment going back and watching those shows. But then something happened. Greg said, man, I believe we can do this. That's how I became a speaker and was able to reach over 300,000 people because Greg said, man, I think we can do this. We haven't seen the revenue piece that will come in. We're believing that, but we've been consistent beyond measure. Monday night at 8:30, Tuesday night at 8:30, and Thursday night at 8:30. And what we're getting ready to do, you see the type of high caliber, high quality guests that we have on the show. Cheryl has a master's degree in physical therapy. She's a licensed physical therapist. She has her own practice. So, you know what I mean? She went from working for somebody to working for herself and did that for several decades. That's highly impressive. Let's see what Augie says. Augie says my birthday is December 31st. I'll be 61 and it'll be in Orlando, Florida, but I'll be on the road working for Christmas. Well, we love you, Augie. Thank you for continuing to do what you do. Augie's 61 and it looks like he's about 16. He got 22-inch guns. You know what I'm saying? Great man. So what we're doing now as we shut down, as we power down, which I won't be powering down truly because I've got a lot of shows to be on. I'll be on a show in Germany this coming Sunday. Then I'll be on Cheryl's show a few days later. And then I'll be out in Houston the beginning of January. And then Sweden, I think a couple days later. And so I'm going to be making appearances on shows, but we're not going to be running a show here until the first week of February. We're going to get ourselves together. There's things that we have realized that now it's time for us to take that next step. We're going to introduce sponsors to the show and sponsorship opportunities. There are going to be 3 levels of sponsorship. The first level will be to sponsor the show for $1. That's like less than a cup of coffee. And our sponsor, that sponsorship helps us keep the show on the air. You guys don't realize a lot of the intangible expenses associated with running a podcast. Calendar, automation, so many different programs, graphic design programs, groups and trainings. And man, the list is really growing. And we realized, man, for us to put out a quality product, we want to continue to have quality equipment, quality guests, and all of that is dynamic. But, and more importantly, like I told you, Greg, his time is valuable. He's here every Monday night, Tuesday night, and Thursday night. And you can't, how do you pay somebody for that? And then that's the dollar sponsorship. The second sponsorship level will be $5 sponsors. And those $5 sponsors will be people who want us to advertise on their show. I told you that we've had over 500 downloads on Podbean since we started in February, because we switched from another platform back in February that we had started in December or September. And we got on a more professional platform. It's paid. You have to pay to be a part of these things. You have to pay for the resources, the website, all of that costs money, recurring every month. And so we want people who are at the $5 level that we could sponsor. And I mean, we could give them advertisements. We could tell you about how they're sponsoring the show and tell you about their business, tell you about their book, tell you about what they've got going on. We've had over 20,000 views. That's a conservative estimate for our live show of this podcast. Over 20,000 views since September. Let me tell you this also. We have a third level, and that's going to be the $15 sponsorship level. Here's this $15 sponsorship level for us to be able to continue to offer our gear training to at-risk youth throughout the country. $15. We'll also get you a sponsorship spot. Like, we'll do a spot for you for what you're doing. We'll thank you. We'll give you a shout out on the show. And that happens Monday night, Tuesday night, and Thursday night. So the $15 sponsorship will be for folks who want to help us with the gear training and also get a sponsorship on the show. The $5 sponsorship will get you a sponsorship spot on the show. And then the dollar sponsorship helps us keep impacting life 24/7 moving forward. We've already analyzed that we've had this equipment for a year, and there's some upgrades that we've got to make. Okay, as the product continues to expand and continue to grow, then so does the requirement to improve. Here's what you got to know, ladies and gentlemen. We have 35 people waiting, and we ain't even into the next year. 35 people waiting to be on the show. To be on this show already. They're in a queue, and we do Saturday interviews of these people. And it takes up a time. We interview people at 12, we interview people at 3, we interview people at 7, and we interview people at 10. So our whole Saturday is tied up seeing if we got good fits for all these people who want to be on the show. And if we're going to deliver to you high quality guests that can really make an impact in your life, like Cheryl was. I'm telling you, this thing is going global. Yeah, we might have some global listeners, but I'm telling you what, it's going to be a household name from coast to coast and around the world, impacting life 24/7. We've shown people that no matter what is going on in the world, we didn't stop because of COVID. We didn't stop because of the racial tensions. We didn't stop because of the division in the country. We kept plowing, we kept grinding, and we're going to continue to do so on until the Lord tells us to go home. Augie, there'll be more information out in January. I'll be sending out information to all of our listeners. And so we appreciate you wanting to connect. I love you, man. You are truly a hero in our book. And so those will be monthly commitments, $1 a month, $5 a month, or $15 a month to help us with this show. I want to thank Wally. That music that you're listening to, Wally took time out of his schedule. My friend, very, very close friend. We're actually going to record at his house this coming Sunday. Wally, it's all original music, man. He's playing all the instruments. And Wally said, King, you're an excellent speaker. I said, well, thank you. But your show quality is terrible. He told me about getting microphones and lighting and cameras and soundboards. He said, man, this is what you got to do if you really want to go to this next level. And Wally was extremely influential in the transition of our show from a backyard barbecue to a white glove dining facility, ladies and gentlemen. And Wally is the maestro that you hear in this music. And he don't like a lot of public recognition. He probably wouldn't even want me mentioning his name on this show, but he's my friend, very, very close friend, somebody who I confide in a lot relative to moves I want to make. Danny is the same way. I talk to Danny quite a bit about the moves I want to make in the show, and he gives me pluses and deltas. Also, Mike Black is a great friend and ally. He's going to be helping us a whole lot more in 2021. And as you know, Greg eats at the table first. He is truly my best friend. We don't argue over money. We know what his cut is. I know what my cut is, and we keep it moving. But it ain't all about money for us. Okay, we do recognize that this is an operation that's growing. It's a business, and we need help to keep it moving forward. I want to reach so many people. Imagine somebody going through chronic pain, sciatica, feeling depressed, and they heard Cheryl's show. We give out the people's contact information where you can reach out to them. And man, I can't help you with sciatica, but she can. I can't help you get up off the couch. Well, maybe I can, but you might not like my method. She can. We've had people connected from the dear lady, Kelly, who gave Matthew her kidney. Man, that should have inspired some of us to realize, man, it ain't all about us. It's about others. And that's what Impacting Life is about, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't about CL King. My kids let me know how great I am. I don't need people to tell me how good I am or pat me on the back. But I feel like God has uniquely positioned me. Listen to me. He's uniquely positioned me and Greg and our associates to take this message of impact to the nation and the world. You've heard it here. I will see you back in February, first week in February, on Impacting Life 24/7 with your host, CL King. God bless you.